Hi there and welcome back. If you or someone that you love is facing the threat of foreclosure, I want you to know that you're not alone. Today we're going to break down a really important topic. How does foreclosure actually work? We'll walk you through the steps involved and more importantly, what you can do to protect your home. So let's go ahead and dive in. Foreclosure, it's just a legal process where the lender tries to take back a home because the homeowner has fallen behind on its mortgage payments. It usually triggers after 4 or 5 missed payments. Now, you know what, that may sound really scary, but the more that you understand about the process, the more empowered you'll feel to take action. There's actually 2 types of foreclosures that you should know about. The first is a judicial foreclosure and the other one is a non-judicial foreclosure. Now, in a judicial foreclosure, the lender has to go through the court system. It's a long, more formal legal process. But in a non-judicial foreclosure, which is what we have here in North Carolina, the lender can proceed without going to court. They just follow some state-specific steps. But either way, the goal is the same. The lender wants to recover the money that they're owed. So how does it all unfold? So let's look at the typical foreclosure timeline step by step. Now, it usually starts with missed payments. If you miss one, you'll probably just get a late notice and a late fee. Now, other things besides missed payments can also trigger off a foreclosure, such as not paying your property taxes or not keeping up your homeowner's insurance. But after 3 or 4 missed payments, roughly 90 to 120 days, the lender is going to take things more serious and take action. Now, next comes the notice of default. This is a formal letter from the lender saying, hey, you're behind, and we're starting the foreclosure process. The notice of default starts a time clock, and in most cases you'll have around 90 days to take action before the actual foreclosure sale occurs and your home is sold at the auction. Now, this leads us into what we call the pre-foreclosure period. Think of this as the window of opportunity that you still have. The home is still yours, and now it's time to act fast to save it. In North Carolina, you typically have about 60 days from the notice of default to a hearing date, and then from the hearing date to the sale date is only about 30 days. Now, during this time, you might still be able to work out a solution with the lender. Now, if no agreement is reached with the lender, the actual foreclosure process begins. That is the sale of your home at the auction. So let's walk through what happens. Now, if the home ends up being sold for less than you owe at the auction, they might even come after you for what is called a deficiency judgment. That's the difference between what the home sold for at auction and what was actually owed. That can have a significant tax implication for you also. Now, at the hearing before the clerk of courts, an auction date is set. A notice of sale document will be part of the public record announcing the sale. The date and the time is 30 days away, and this tells the public when and where your property will be auctioned. It's also your final warning that the sale is coming. Finally, the home does go to the auction, and where bids. The bidder that gets the highest bid, whether it's a bank or third party, becomes the new owner. But hold on a minute, new owner. Not so quick. There's a 10-day waiting period called the upset bid period. During that time, any other bidders can come in and place a bid over your bid, which then starts another 10-day period, upset bid period. That cycle continues and continues until no bidder comes in and the last 10-day period, upset bid period, expires, and then that highest bidder is the new homeowner. Now, the most important thing for you to know and realize during that cycle of repeating 10-day bid periods, you still have the option to redeem your home. If you come in with just the amount of the arrears and penalties and fees, that will reinstate your mortgage and you'll be able to keep your home. So now let's talk about what's the impact of a foreclosure and why it's worth doing everything you can to avoid it. First of all, your credit score takes a huge hit. Often it's as much as 100 points. And you know that foreclosure will stay on your credit record for 7 years, and it can make it really hard to get approved for other loans, credit cards, or even rent for a future apartment or place to rent. Now, after the sale, you'll be required to move out. Law enforcement can legally remove you and your belongings if you don't leave voluntarily. That's why it's so important that you have a plan and you act early. But here's the good news: you have options. Even if things feel overwhelming right now, let's talk about what you can do to stay in the home or avoid the foreclosure altogether. First thing you want to do is you want to be in communication, frequent communication with your lender. You know, it might be uncomfortable and frustrating. I'll tell you, it can be very frustrating, but it's crucial. Lenders often have options available, but you won't know unless you ask. So next, you want to ask your lender about their loss mitigation programs. That could mean like a loan modification or a short sale, or even a deed in lieu of foreclosure, which just lets you hand over the title to the property without going through the auction process. And don't forget, you don't have to do this alone. We're biased, but Foreclosure Solutions North Carolina has helped hundreds of homeowners navigate the foreclosure process. We can explain all of your options, which enables you to choose the right option for you. Whatever option you choose to pursue, we will walk through it with you. You know, you don't have to lose your home at an auction or sacrifice your hard-earned equity that you've been paying into all these years for your home. You also have legal rights, and knowing them can make a huge difference. You know, you have the right to right to notice. That means that the lender must notify you before taking action, and if they don't in the right time frame, that can cause you to be able to challenge the whole process. You also have the right to reinstatement, the chance to bring your mortgage current and stop foreclosure by paying what you owe before the auction. You know, the bottom line is that foreclosure is serious. But it's not hopeless. The earlier that you act, the more options you have. Talk to your lender, explore your rights, and get expert help. The most importantly, don't wait until it's too late. So if you found this helpful, be sure to like us and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who might need it. And thank you for watching, and you take care.